Indexing. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has been microfilming records for many years. Many of these records are now available to view online. An index of the names on the records makes it easier to find your relatives. This presentation will show you how to help index records. Once a record group has an index completed, the Family Search computer will then try to match up the information with the names in the Family Search database. When it finds information that appears to match a person, it will post a blue record hint icon on the right side of the person page under the Research Helps. A person will then look at the record and decide if it is a match. If it is a match, they will attach the record, which will then be placed in the Sources file. We see here that the 1850 census record was attached for Stephen Hargis. He was 11 years old in the census. Some records can be viewed, while other records, because of legal issues, cannot, but only the indexed information can be viewed. Remember to read the project instructions each time you start a new type of record. Look for the top menu in Family Search that says Family, Tree, Search, Memories, Indexing. Click on Indexing. The second step is to click on Web Indexing in the drop-down box. You should get a screen with Find Batches. Step 3 is to click on Find Batches. A new page should appear. Okay, so you want to find a batch. You get to this page, you say, what do I do now? So we have up here, sort by, and it says by difficulty. That's what comes up. So that's dealing with this beginning batch, or an intermediate batch, or down here at the bottom it's going to list advanced batches. So the beginning batches are usually either very simple, easy to do, or just a few pages. When you get to the intermediate, you're going to have a few more batches. You might have like 10 pages instead of 3 pages to do. You might have a lot more names on a page than on the beginning ones. So you choose by that. You can also choose to list them in alphabetical order, A to Z or backwards Z to A. The newest batches that they have just put up to be done, or the oldest batches. You can do the most complete or the least complete. Let's check on this most complete. So you can see here there's an Oregon divorce records, and it is 98% indexed, and the reviewing is 96%. You see here, though, that you can't click on index. That means that the batches that are left have already been checked out by people, and they're working on them. And so you have to come down until you find something where there's actually, see down here, there's batches that need indexing. And so if you want to do some of these that are further done, you might happen to find one that's 98% and shows indexing. And you ask, what's the reviewing? A reviewer is a person who has indexed 1,000 batches. Once you've done 1,000 batches, you're pretty well familiar with most of the programs and most of the types of things that are going to come up, and so they allow you to review. And then you're reviewing somebody else's work that has indexed a batch and looking for any errors that there might be and correcting those errors and marking that it is complete, that you have checked each thing. So that is on the most complete. I'm going to move it back here to difficulty level, and let's look. We have down here on this side, there's language, the English, and if you want to do a different language where there's a great need for these other languages, more so than in English, I mean we need it in English, but you can pick another language that you want to do batches in, see if they have any batches available. So we're going to leave it on English. You can choose to have just beginning batches show up, or you can do just intermediate batches, and it will show you just the intermediate. I'm going to take those off. You can choose which level. They have this where it says all batches in English, or I can check favorites. Now, when you check that, if you haven't picked any favorites, it's going to come up empty. I have chosen some favorites, and so these are the batches that I have done that I happen to enjoy doing and I want to work on. So you say, well, how do I get them in there? So let's go back to the all, and let's say you have this Alaska naturalization. You really like doing that. You've done one or two of those. So you just click the little star, and then we'll go over here to favorites, and you see that it's now in your favorites. Let's say your favorites, you're working on it, you go, hey, I don't really like working on this batch. So you can just check it off the star, and it takes it out of your favorites. Now there's one other thing I want to show you, and that is, it says up here, batches to check out. What that is sometimes you may not have internet. You're going somewhere, you're not going to have internet, and so you wouldn't be able to turn in a batch, but you want to work on one. So what happens is you can check out up to 10 batches. So let's say you pick a batch to work on and you start working on it, and then you stop, and then you want to come back to it later. But when you come back you're not going to have the internet. So you check out one batch. If you're going to have, you can pick 2 or 3 or up to 10 batches, and then they're in your list of batches that you're working on. And when you finish them, you have to turn them in when you have internet again. You have a time limit on it, so it's about a week. I think it usually tells you. And so you want to make sure that you're going to be able to have internet where you can turn them in, because Family Search will actually take those batches back if they haven't been done or worked on and haven't been turned back in after a period of time. So now you're ready to actually pick a batch to work on. I'm going to go to my favorites, and I am going to pick the New York Finger Lakes, and I'm going to click on index that batch. And it says, it gives you some instructions, and you'll say OK, and this brings you to your batch. And I'm going to stop this part here, and then we'll have another video showing how to actually index. The next video will show you how to use the tools to index a record. Just remember that someone will review your batch and fix your mistakes. Just do your best.